Hi everyone, this is Z, and today I would like to talk about the third scenario in the Tanglewoods universe of the 20 strong tabletop game called Tanglewoods White. As with Red and Gold, White is a part of the initial Tanglewood series release and can be played as a standalone scenario or combined using the fourth campaign deck called Baba Yaga into a campaign where you will be playing through each of the deck, so red, gold, and white, collect additional items if you win a scenario, and then face with the final boss of the universe, the fabled Baba Yaga. So in this video, I will share my thoughts on why I think the game might be for you, or if it isn't, and also share my personal review of the game. But before I do, has Tanglewoods White caught your attention? Or perhaps you are interested in the Tanglewoods entire universe, or the 20 strong tabletop game. Or perhaps you are looking into branching out from video gaming into tabletop gaming. Or have you played 20 strong already and the Tanglewoods White and want to share your thoughts about it? Either way, please share everything with me in the comment section below. And also, if you could, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos about tabletop gaming and games I love to play, Switch 2 games, cozy games, and other games I will be reviewing in this channel this year. Thank you. So, what is Tanglewoods White? 20 Strong Tanglewoods White is a tabletop combination game where you combine dice rolling and a card deck to play through the scenarios. So, in order to play Tanglewoods White, you would need one of the core boxes of the 20 strong system. They come with the 20 dice and a token that is used differently by different scenarios. In case of Tanglewoods, it's mostly used to track your amount of gold, and one of the scenario decks, in this case Tanglewoods White, to complete this entire tabletop game. Tanglewoods is an entire series of decks that are based off of fables and fairy tales, and in case of Tanglewoods White, this time we are dropped into the universe of Snow White, where there is an evil queen waiting for us in the castle, and our job is to navigate the forest, get stronger, defeat her minions, so mid-boss encounters that we will face in her castle, to finally reach the queen's tower and ultimately to defeat her. So, Tanglewoods White follows the general rules of the 20 Strong series, and of all of the Tanglewoods available scenario decks, I would say this is the most complex to understand. It takes the biggest amount of space, and the playthrough is usually the longest. So, as I said, your goal is to defeat the evil queen and first reach her castle by going through the forest, collecting items to help you on your journey, getting stronger, defeating the boss encounters before, and ensuring you go to defeat the queen at your best, taking into consideration all of the test your luck and randomness mechanics of the 20 Strong series. So that would serve as an introduction. And now let's move on to why I think the game might be for you, or perhaps why it isn't. And then I will provide my short review of the deck, which, quite honestly, I think I like the most. So, is Tanglewoods White a game for you? It is a game for you if you like or don't mind more complex scenarios. Learning how to properly set up this game took me by far the longest, and the rulebook available in the deck definitely wasn't enough. I had to watch YouTube playthroughs and explanations of the mechanics in order to be certain I understand them. Trying from the rulebook alone, I wasn't even sure I was properly setting up the board. As of the time of me recording this video, there is also no dice interactive tutorial available, which I think would have helped a lot. And frankly, I wished they would skip rose, red, and gold and started with this one because it really is, at least for me, technically the most difficult deck to understand the rules of. Once I did, I don't have any more issues understanding them, I think, and it became my favorite scenario of the Tanglewood series. Nonetheless, getting into it at first wasn't easy. This game is for you if you like a lot of interaction with the board itself. You will be flipping your cards much more often than you would do in other decks. You will be moving and shuffling stuff around. The interaction with this particular deck in this scenario, at least in my opinion, is happening much more often. So if you love picking up cards, moving them, shuffling them, I think that this deck would be for you. Really, there is a lot of interactiveness with this one. And this leads me to point number 3, and that is, if engagement is very important for you to stick to a tabletop game, then I think this is the scenario for you. By engagement, I mean the time you will spend learning the rules, interacting with the deck itself. As I said, there's a lot of interaction here, and overall it feels very tactile, for a lack of a better word with it. To me, I found it very pleasing on how often I would flip certain cards, how often I would shuffle them. Just the amount of touch was something that really keeps me engaged while playing this scenario. And I guess that will be it. So now moving on, why I think the game might not be the best choice for you. Right from the start, this scenario is not for you if you don't want to spend time learning the rules. I think I would not be alone in thinking that this scenario, Tanglewoods White, really has the most complex setup and mechanics to understand. Even for me, it was a bit of a detriment because I didn't like the feeling of really not understanding what the rules are in this one. And only after watching YouTube tutorials or playthrough, I was able to get it. Now that I do, as I said, I love it the most. Nonetheless, it might be a turn-off, a huge one at that, to a lot of the people who want something quick and simple. Of all of the Tanglewood scenarios, this one really took me the biggest amount of time to understand and effectively to start playing. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's not worth your time. Quite the contrary. I think it really is worth your time. But if you are not willing to give it the time it needs for you to understand it, then you will not be having a lot of enjoyment here. You have to put in the work. What I think ties in with the complexity of it, I would say each playthrough of this particular scenario, if I wasn't extremely unlucky with the randomness and having a really bad start, it really does take the longest. I believe my longest playthrough of it, which I didn't win, took me 2 hours and 30 minutes. Granted, it was while I was still learning the game properly, at least this particular scenario, but I can imagine having to spend this much time in order to refresh my knowledge of the rules of this particular deck if I don't play it for a longer period of time. So again, perhaps not that much of a con, but if you are pressed for time and don't have a lot of space to set up, then this deck is definitely not the one that you will go for. And despite me loving it as much as I do, I played it the least of them all because it takes the longest time to set up properly. This concludes that portion of the video. I can't think of any more reasons not to want to play this deck because, as I already mentioned, I really do love it the most. So now, let me try my best at explaining the setup of the game, but please keep in mind that I would recommend you to go and see playthroughs of this particular scenario from other videos to make sure that you really understand the rules of Tanglewoods White. You start by selecting a hero for the scenario, either one of the 5 available in the Tanglewoods White, or any characters from other 20 strong decks that have this magic icon on them, which indicates they are universal heroes. Now, you separate the white deck into the hand deck, combining the enemy cards with the fable cards, so events that will happen on your journey. Separate the boss cards, and finally create a merchant pile with the items that you will get from the merchant on your journey. Now you will proceed to set up the board, so your forest, by selecting 3 of the mid bosses out of the 5 available in the deck by choosing them at random, and you will add the evil queen to it as the final boss encounter, and you will create 4 columns of cards starting with the mid bosses from left to the queen on the right, 4th final column. You will put them face down, so they will create this image of a castle. Under those columns, you will create 3 rows of cards taken from the encounter deck, called here the hand deck. You will also put them face down and just create 3 rows of cards under the castle. That will be the forest. You will put your health dice on the bottom left card of the forest, and your job will be to navigate to the uppermost right corner of the forest, where once you do, you will start the boss encounter. While navigating the forest, you can move in either diagonal directions, so up, right, down, and left, if the rows allow for it. So if you have no card at the bottom because you are at the bottom row, then you can't really go there. And you will be navigating the forest in order to complete encounters. Once you complete the encounter, you will be adding one of the cards to the castle row and each of the bosses, which will dictate how many dice you will be able to roll in that boss encounter, and other things as well. And that's pretty much it. So as I said, not the simplest of setups. So my review of the Tanglewoods White deck. Honestly, at first, I was puzzled by the rules, but I am so glad that I took the time to learn them, because it really is my favorite of all of the scenarios available in 20 Strong tabletop game. I love the encounters, I love the setup, I love navigating the forest here, I love the tactileness of the entire play that the rules dictate here. When I have to think about my favorite of them all, this is the one I would think of. Honestly, even the art, even though it's consistent across the entire Tanglewood series, here I like it the most. I love the magical depiction of the Snow White. She looks like a kind of a witch, and of all of the characters available with the deck itself, I like them in white the most, especially Snow White. Most of the time, for other scenarios, I would pick the heroes from the Baba Yaga campaign, but here, I don't know, the graphical representation of those characters really speaks to me the most. And it's a little bit funny because, as I said, the art style is consistent across all of the Tanglewoods scenarios, but really, this deck has my favorite art of them all. And what came to me as the biggest surprise of them all is that when it comes to the Snow White fairy tale, it's far from my favorite. Honestly, I like it the least. To find myself liking the Tanglewoods White the most was a bit of a shock. I don't mind it, of course. I love the twist they put on this fairy tale. I love how you play as the Snow White who goes on a hunt to the forest in order to defeat the evil queen, but still, it is shocking that Snow White turned out to be my favorite character. Honestly, if you are a newcomer to the tabletop universe, Tanglewoods White might really be quite difficult for you to understand. It's just very complex to start with, but in my opinion, is well worth the effort. Like even now, when I talk about Tanglewood series, I want to immediately go and spread the cards and build up the board and start playing Tanglewood White. I love it. It's like a token scenario for me for the entire 20 strong universe. I love the mechanics. I love how you set up the board. I love how you interact with it. The only bad side is how long it took me to understand it and learn it, but it gives me the most joy to play. Like, I never get angry at it. Even if I lose, I'm like, I'm fine with it. I enjoyed the journey so much. Everything was so interesting. And the fact that I often have to go and check something in the rule book or take a look at the reference cards doesn't bother me at all here. I just have so much enjoyment from the game. I don't know if it speaks the most to my ADHD or why I am finding it so enjoyable and engaging as much as I do. But by far, the engagement with Tanglewoods White is like all of the other decks combined. I want to play it more. I want to interact with it. I am so interested on what I will find under the next card. If I will be able to defeat the queen or not. So far I have defeated the queen once, so I would say it's one of the more difficult decks in the series. Not in only in terms of the complexity, but also how much you can really affect the randomness of it all. So while I still think that the Tanglewoods Red is the more challenging one, more difficult one to overcome than Tanglewoods White, I would say Tanglewoods White is still pretty challenging. It's pretty difficult to win the final encounter, to win with the bosses. Again, it's not something that dissuaded me from playing it. I still enjoy it the most, but it's something that I think is important to know. And that's it. I hope I managed to give you some idea on what Tanglewoods White is, and I hope I allowed you to make a decision for yourself. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next one. Bye!